Hey, what's up, peeps? Welcome to another episode of Direct Edition. The channel is Fred Hall Direct Edition, and today we're going to be going over my hardcovers. So I have another hardcovers video to show you. So with that being said, I try to break up my videos to, so I'm not just bringing you comic book hauls all the time. I try to bring you top 25 movies. I try to bring you, hardcovers. I try to bring you, action figure reviews. And speaking of action figures, if you like these, which I do love my Black Manta and Arthur Curry. If you like these, I actually did a video on my DC collectibles. I did a whole video on all my DC collectibles. You can find that down in my channel. And yeah, man, let's get into the hardcover haul. But you know how we do. Before we get into anything, we got to bring you our sponsor. And this episode of Direct Edition is brought to you by my fake Darth Maul from China. All right, so let's get into it. Yeah, so like I said, man, I've been very busy, working, overnights. And I've actually been collecting and trying to bring you guys, new, good stuff, man, out of my collection, out of the dungeon. And one cool thing about the setup today is my Black Manta. I love my Black Manta. I think he's like one of the most slept on villains. He's super cool. And yeah, with that being said, let's get into some comics. Or let's get into some hardcovers. And bam, the first hardcover I'm going to bring you is my New Mutants Unfinished Business. Oh my God, this book made me love Danny Moonstar. As you know, I call Danny Moonstar my comic book baby mama. And this book did it for me because what happened at the beginning of this book, Cyclops said, hey, we have a briefing on this guy named Sugar Man from the Age of Apocalypse. And Cyclops is like, Sugar Man is one of the best hand-to-hand combatants that you'll ever run across. And Danny Moonstar is like, during the briefing, she's like, oh, okay, we'll see. And you know what I'm saying? So like, I was like, okay, what's going on? But at the beginning of this book, they just start off, bam, they're fighting. And Wolverine's supposed to be leading the team. But the whole time, Danny Moonstar is calling the shots. And Wolverine just lays back and he's like, hey, man, she's a natural born leader. So with that being said, Unfinished Business is basically about finding Nathan Summers or Nate Gray, who is what am I trying to say? Cable from the Age of Apocalypse. And that's what this book is about. It's about unfinished business. The New Mutants are going after Nate Gray to bring him back into the fold because he's been missing. And yep, you find out about Danny Moonstar and how good she is at hand-to-hand combat in this book. So I suggest this New Mutants book for anybody who wants to learn about the New Mutants, because this book breaks it down. Danny Moonstar is a beast. And here's a cool look at the front. And here's a cool look at the back of the book. Go ahead and pause it if you want to read the synopsis. Let me get out of the shadow. But yeah, man, I really, really like this book, man. I think this book is super cool. And I just wanted to show you a picture of when Danny Moonstar is actually fighting Sugar Man. Okay, and the next book is The List. The List is a list that Norman Osborn came up with when he took over during Dark Reign, and he said, I'm going to get these guys back. So the Scar book has Scar's on the front cover because he was on the list, and Norman Osborn tried to get back with him. His story is pretty interesting. The artwork is cool. Now the Daredevil. Let me tell you something, man. If I could steal something from Rob Explains, hey, man, let me tell you something, man. That Daredevil one, man, oh, my God. That Daredevil one, Norman Osborn lets, what's his name? Bullseye, get his revenge on Daredevil. And when I tell you it's a lot of ninja action, a lot of butt kicking, and all that going on in that book, That's what it is. Now the Wolverine one, I don't know why they put it in there. Basically, Wolverine goes inside the world. He's trying to find like some kind of like weird experiment, some more like Weapon X experiments, and it's not really yeah, wonk wonk wonk. Anyway, the Punisher one, that's the death of Frank Castle. That's when Dakin actually takes Punisher out. I already have that in my Frankencastle hardcover. But it's nice to have it again. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind reading it twice. You know, that's what happens when you get some of these hardcovers. You end up getting the same story twice. But anyway, before I get to Spider Man, which is the creme de la creme, or the best story in there, you start out with a story with what's his name? Hawkeye. And Hawkeye cannot be Hawkeye at this point because you have Bullseye, who is Hawkeye. Um, but Hawkeye actually goes after Norman Osborn and tries to assassinate him at the beginning of the book. And all his new Avengers tell him, hey, Hawkeye, who's dressed up as Ronin, don't go after Norman Osborn, but he still does it anyway. And I think Norman Osborn actually sends Ares after him. But anyway, the Spider-Man one, not the Spider-Man one, Norman Osborn puts on his Iron Patriot armor, goes after Spider-Man, and pins his butt to the wall. But Spider-Man ends up blackmailing him by recording the whole thing. So Norman has to retract and act like he didn't even try to kill Spider-Man, which we know that he did because, you know, Spider-Man always gets the best of Norman Osborn. So anyway, man, that's the list. I just wanted to show you that. Very cool hardcover. Here's a cool look at the front. And here's a cool look at the back of the book with Ronan crossing off Norman Osborn. You can see his face in the blood, and that is Ronan's hand. If you wonder who Ronan is actually Hawkeye. Like I said, he couldn't be Hawkeye because Bullseye at this time is Hawkeye. So, very cool, man. Cool pickup. While we're on the subject of Spider-Man, I always try to pick up my Marvel Comics encyclopedias because I just like nerdy stuff like this. You know, sometimes you need a break from the regular comic books. Like I pick up the Marvel Complete Ultimate Universe or some crap like that. I don't know, some crap like that. But anyway, this is a Marvel Encyclopedia. This is a Spider-Man edition. I also have the X-Men and the Incredible Hulk one. And I thought this was cool, and I just wanted to show it to you guys. You know, let me show you some of the inside of it. If you allow my sexy hands or sexy fingers to interrupt your video, see it has weird stuff like this on the inside, like Chapter 4, which is, you know, Goofy Spider-Man toy. You know, oh my God. Don't tear up the page, Fred. Don't tear up the page. See, Spider-Man from A to Z. This is what I really read. Like, all this other kind of stuff I skim over. I'm not going to lie, dude. I read it. But then, you know, I like to learn about different characters. And so you have different characters, you know what I'm saying? Like Ezekiel, who was introduced by John Romita Jr., which I can't stand his artwork. But anyway, you know, you got the Enforcers. It's just stuff like this, weird stuff that you can read through. You know what I'm saying? So pretty cool. All right. I never really did this much live turning during the video. But here's a cool look at the front of the book. And here's a cool look at the back of the book, which I really, really adore, man. Because you have like the Ultimate Spider-Man, John Romita Jr. drawing, another one of the Ultimate Spider-Man drawings. And you got my boy, Terry Dodson. Man, I don't know if I could keep on trying to seek Terry Dodson covers. Terry Dodson is very busy right now. This man has so many books that he's drawing. I just saw that he was drawing the new Generation X, so it's going to be hard for me as a Terry Dodson fan to keep up with his artwork. But anyway, here's a cool look at the back of the book. Spider-Man Rose Gallery. Very cool, man. Ultimate Guide to Spider-Man. So, I try not to bring you books I've already had on my previous videos, but man, this book is one of my favorites. This is when I first started collecting hardcovers. This would probably be like in my third or fourth hardcover that I bought. This is Incredible Hulk, the Son of Banner. And what goes on in this book is Scar wants to fight the Hulk so bad, but Banner's telling him, he's like, man, you're not any kind of challenge for a world breaker Hulk. So you need to get your what do we want to say? So you want to get your testing on. So what he does is he actually puts Scar up against the Juggernaut. And the funny thing about this story, the Juggernaut's on the toilet, and that's when Scar attacks him. And then he puts Scar up against Dakin, which is Wolverine's son. And the funny thing about Dakin is Dakin can actually handle Scar until Scar actually punches him one time and punches his flesh off his body. That didn't happen, but I know that's what will happen. But anyway, here's a cool look at the front. My boy Olivetti is drawing this book, so I'm a very big fan of Olivetti. Cool look at the front. And here's a cool look at the back of the book. Now, you could tell that's Dakin's hand right there. And, Wolverine's trying to stop the whole thing. He's like, hey, don't hurt my son. And, Banner's like, get him. And Scar's like, I'll beat, Dakin up. Even though Dakin's like really, really fast, man. People sleep on Dakin. I really like his character. The bisexual part, the only reason why I'm kind of like, on the bisexual is because he kind of like has this pheromone release that he does to people's emotions, and that's how he kind of get over on people. I don't like rapey stuff like that, but other than that, I think Dakin's pretty cool, man. You know what I'm saying? I have nothing against. Matter of fact, ain't it Pride Week? But anyway, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Like the back cover. And I wouldn't do this book justice if I didn't show you Dakin attacking Juggernaut on the toilet. Pretty hilarious. So here's another cool hardcover out of the dungeon. This is X-Men Manifest Destiny. This is when the X-Men actually moved to San Francisco after the whole Messiah complex. This is one of Michael Turner's last drawings. Rest in peace, Michael Turner. Such a beautiful cover, man. Look at this cover. Look at that. That's not capturing, years and years of X-Men history. But I love this book because it has a lot of backstories. Wolverine has a backstory. Gambit has a backstory. Everybody basically has their own little moving to San Francisco story. And remember, this is when Gambit was finally brought back into the fold. So beautiful, beautiful cover. Here's a cool look at the front of the book. And here's a cool look at the back of the book. This is one of the most iconic X-Men covers I've actually ever seen. I'm a huge fan of the X-Men girls. You have Dazzler, you have Shadowcat, you have Psylocke, you have Storm, you have Rogue, you have Emma Frost, and Jean. And, there's a picture of Jean, man. This picture, man, sums up my X-Men women. I'm really, really a fan of the X-Men, but really, really a fan of the women in the X-Men. So really like this book, man. It's a really cool book. And Fake Darth Maul from China wanted me to let you guys know that that artist that drew the iconic cover on the back is none other than my boy Terry Dotson. See, he's actually pointing at the signature. Very cool. Really, X-Men? You gonna try to do a character like Akuma and Akuma's brother with the bees around his neck for Wolverine's Manifest Destiny? All right. All right. The next book I wanted to bring you is it falls in line with the hardcovers. It's a paperback. It's one of my worst eBay purchases ever. When this book came in, I was so mad. Like I was so mad to the point where you've been so mad to the point where you don't even want to complain. You don't even want to write. Like you don't even want to write the person back. You just take the loss and tuck your tail in between your legs and just go to sleep crying. But that's what I did when this Star Wars Legacy came in. And this is an important book because this is, look who's on the front cover, man. This is Darth Crate. If you don't know who Darth Crate is, man, Darth Crate used to be like a Jedi. And what ended up happening was this like alien species ended up kidnapping him. And that's why you see his eye is different. That's why you see the tattoos on him. Because the alien species put him through so much trauma that he had to call on the dark side in order to survive. Matter of fact, Darth Crate used to be a Tusken Raider. So if you're a Star Wars fan, you know exactly who I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not, you remember the first movie. You remember the theme that went like that was trying to attack Luke before Obi-Wan Kenobi came. That's what a Tusken Raider is. Matter of fact, Obi-Wan Kenobi actually fought Darth Crate's father, and because Darth Crate's father was such a scavenger and a scallywag. But anyway, I didn't, without going into my Star Wars lore, this is one of the worst eBay purchases. This is why I don't really trust eBay. I'll order stuff off of eBay, but I kind of like cross my fingers. But this is Star Wars Legacy. This is the second chapter. And like I said, that's my boy Darth Crate on the front. I really, really like this cover. I'm really going to try to buy this again. I hate, doing stuff twice. But hey, man, I definitely need a nice copy in my collection. But beautiful, beautiful book, man, if it comes in pristine condition. Here's a cool look at the front of the book. And here's a cool look at the back of the book with my girl Darth Talon on the back. Man, I freaking, whoo, Darth Talon and Mara J. Skywalker are my favorite women in the Star Wars universe. They are so beautiful. They're so deadly. And, what I'm saying, they will carve you up within a second. The cool thing about this is, you remember how Han Solo was put in that frozen stasis? I forget what it's called. I forget the original name. It's like carbonadium stasis or something like that. Well, that is Luke Skywalker's great grandson, Caden Skywalker, in cryogenic stasis. And look how Darth Talon is just like posing with him. She's such a beautiful, sarcastic character. Really like Darth Talon, man. I'm glad I bought her first appearance. Her first appearance is only like 25 cents too. It's only like a 25-cent comic book. So yeah. Soak that in for a second. All that sexiness. So I got a buddy from Tennessee and his name is Gory J. Pretty cool channel, man. And like I said, this guy has the best X-Men collection I've ever seen as far as Uncanny X-Men. But yeah, I think in Gory J's background, I always see this black mirror. It always reminds me of my hardcover that I have. Now, this Black Mirror, this book is basically about Commissioner Gordon's son. And I never knew about his son, that his son is a psycho butt whack. Yeah, he's a dillweed, a douchebag, and he's psycho. So you wouldn't think that Commissioner Gordon, Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, but her brother would actually be a douchebag serial killer. But this book is basically about him. It touches on him. It touches on Nightwing finally donning the mantle of Batman. Very, very good, thick book. This was a gift to me by my boy, Comic Book Wendell. And yeah, I really, really like this book, man. It's really, really nice. So here's a cool look at the front of the book. And here's a cool look at the back of the book with that iconic Batman cover that everybody likes, that everybody wants. I've seen it in a couple of you guys' videos. I do have it in this hardcover, so I'm not really hard off to get the single comic. But man, if I ever run across a single comic, I definitely have to have it. I love that Joker cover, man. Love it, love it, love it. But yeah, man, Black Mirror is a pretty good story. Like I said, it mostly touches on Commissioner Gordon's son. Then it also touches on Nightwing actually becoming Batman. Because I guess this is the time that Darkseid had incinerated Batman and Batman was lost in time. Pretty cool, man. All right, so I guess we'll do main events in my hardcovers. This will be your main event. Look how Def is saying, like, oh God, sorry, like, here we go. And then Daredevil saying, Deadpool saying, well, it's about time. This is Deadpool, and this is when Deadpool was with Uncanny X Force, and this is when he actually wanted to die. So this would be Deadpool dead. And I remember when this book was about to be released on Amazon. What do you call it? Pre-order. I pre-ordered it for like $20. This book is, man, it's worth like a lot of money, man. Deadpool fans go ham over this book. It's Deadpool versus the evil Deadpool. Deadpool actually ejected the evil Deadpool with a serum that actually takes away your healing factor, and he came back to life. So you end up knowing that Daredevil will eventually get his healing factor back. But that's the premises of this whole book. Basically, is Deadpool trying to kill himself, which I don't understand. Oh yeah, he wanted to kill himself to be with Lady Death. That's what him and Thanos always fights over, Lady Death. So that's what the reason why he wanted to kill himself. But yeah, man, this is a pretty cool Deadpool hardcover. I really want to say it's an omnibus because it's that big. So here's a cool look at the front of the book. And here's a cool look at the back of the book. I know this is basically a Deadpool cover because I have all my Uncanny X Force, and this is not a cover that's in the Uncanny X Force, so I definitely know that this is a Deadpool cover. The back of all my hardcovers are basically the front of a single issue. And like I said in my last hardcover video, the reason why I love hardcovers is because you don't have to necessarily plug in the holes and plug in the gaps. It gives you the complete story where you don't have to shop around and jump around and go to the comic book shop every month or whatever, or fill out a subscription box. You just like, hey, you know what? I'll wait 3 to 4 months after the complete story comes out, and I'll pre-order it on Amazon, and you just get the complete hardcover story. But this is definitely a good Deadpool collection. Without taking away from this book, I don't want to keep talking about other stuff. I want to keep it focused on this book. This is a very good book. Deadpool actually ends up ejecting himself with something that takes away his healing factor. And little did I know that Deadpool was actually a pretty handsome guy. You know what I'm saying? But everything eventually ended up coming back. His cancer, his healing factor. But this book dawns the question: what if Deadpool actually was able to take away his healing factor? So it was a little bit more suspense to every time he got hurt because he couldn't heal from it. So yeah. So once again, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Direct Edition. Remember, the channel is Fred Hall Direct Edition. And you guys be safe out there. And remember, words of wisdom. Focus on the ones that show you love, not on the ones that don't show you love. And I will catch you, girls and guys, later. Be safe out there. Peace.